People Station, V-103. It's another Odyssey exclusive live from Peachtree and 14th. I got a very, very special guest in the studio. We have to protect this man at all costs. He's so important to the culture. If you really paid attention to what's going on in our community at the time, you know, he's on top of the health issues, and his journey is crazy. So we're going to start off with just a little bit of beginning of the journey. And you can introduce yourself to everybody, because I've heard Dr. Yahki pronounce his name. People, I don't know if it's AI. Some people say it different.
No, it ain't AI. So everybody call me Yahki, but my real name is Yochai.
Okay.
So, or in English, Yakai. So in Hebrew, it's Yochai. But the nickname they gave me was Yahki. So everybody call me Yahki Awaken, but my actual name is Dr. Yahki Rapha Elohim.
Dr. Yochai is in the building, a.k.a. Yahki's here. Now, the products are crazy. We're going to get into the products. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. But just before we get started, a little bit of your journey and how it all started and came to fruition.
To make a long story short, I attacked my heart when I was 21. At 21, I had a heart attack. I like to say I attacked my heart because, you know, that's what I did. I was drinking, smoking, eating bad foods in the wrong environments, running the streets, doing recreational, snorting cocaine, just doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Snorting?
Yeah, snorting cocaine.
Powder?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, wouldn't get no sleep. Just doing all types of crazy, wild stuff, man. And at 21, man, I had a heart attack. I attacked my heart. Went to the hospital. They told me I was having a heart attack. At that time, I got checked. I had scar tissue on my heart, scar tissue on my liver. My kidneys wouldn't function. I had diabetes. I was on high blood pressure medication. I'm only 5'6". At that time, I was like 230. So I was pretty big in weight, man. And yeah, it took me down. And for some particular reason, it scared me straight. So I said, man, let me try to find a natural way to heal myself. So they ended up releasing me. I get home, I get on YouTube. Because at the time I was taking high blood pressure medication, and the side effect from that, it was erectile dysfunction. So I'm 21 and I can't get hard. So I'm Googling ways to cure erectile dysfunction naturally. And, you know, some people popped up on YouTube, but I wasn't really feeling them. And the next person that popped up was Dr. Sabi, a bald head, tall man with a gray beard, saying I've healed sickle cell anemia, leukemia, cancer, HIV, AIDS. And I'm like, wow, this can't be true, because everything he naming is what the allopathic community have programmed me and indoctrinated me to believe it was incurable diseases. But as I listened to him, it made sense. And I'm the person that if it makes sense, then you got my attention. So I kept listening, and it inspired me and started me on a journey and on a mission. Ended up going to school, learning about botanical medicine, what we now coin herbology. I ended up getting a nutritional science certification from Stanford University. Ended up getting a human biology certification and a biochemistry certification from the University of Adelaide. And I just started studying. And once I really became very good at the herbs, I started listening to another man named John Rose, a Caucasian man, and he really jumpstarted everything. He said, look, your brain is connected to your gut. It's called the digestive and neural axis, and they talk to each other. So if you want to heal your body, you have to go on a solid food vacation. And I never heard nobody put it like that, solid food vacation. And I said, well, you can't survive and live that long without, food. And he was talking about how he did it for like 8 months. And I looked at him. He was 70. He was 64 at the time, but he looked younger than me. 6-pack, pecs, everything. He had it all. And he out just sitting in the sun with some shorts on, talking about how he eat the sun. He really don't eat food. And he just spitting all this knowledge. I said, you know what? Let me try this. I already did all the herbs. I know how to mix my own compounds. Let me make my own herbal compound and let me go on a solid food vacation. So I went on a 120-day juice fast. I lost all my weight. I got down to like 134. After the 120 days and after the 4 months of me taking the juices and taking the herbs, I went back to the doctor. There was no more scar tissue on my heart. My blood sugar, glucose, A1C was normalized. I didn't have scar tissue on my kidneys. My urinalysis test came back good. I didn't have my GFR rates. My nephrons was filtrating again. Everything that I came in with after I went on a solid food vacation and I fasted and I took the herbal compounds and the plant medicine, all of it went away. So it turned on my investigator hat. I said, so what is the common denominator? I took out the meat. I took out the poisons. I stopped doing the drugs. I stopped smoking marijuana, stopped smoking cigarettes, Black and Milds. I quit snorting cocaine. I was never snorting crazy cocaine, but I did snort it. So I got to put that out there for the people because you ain't supposed to be snorting cocaine. So I got rid of all of the toxins and then I cleaned up my environment. And once I did that, my body healed itself. I didn't need no doctors. I didn't need nothing. All I needed was everything that God put here on earth. And that was fruits that I turned to juices, vegetables that I turned to juices, and vegetables that was dried out that we call herbal medicine that I took as teas, tinctures, and capsules, and my body healed itself. All I did was just unclog it and unblocked it, man. I was using the bathroom like 20 times a day. After the 60th day, of all liquid foods, I was still passing solid matter. I mean, filling the toilet up, showing you how compacted I was. It's 60 days. I'm on nothing but liquid, but I'm still pooping out fecal matter like I just ate a steak.
Because it's all in your system.
It's just all, and it gets in your system and it get clunked up. And then it get all this mucinoid plaque around it. And then it localizes itself because it become inflamed and obstructed in your colon. So, I got a picture on my Facebook from probably about 10 years ago where I pooped out. I thought it was a tapeworm, but it wasn't. And I took a hanger and I lifted up, man. It was about at least a 7-foot long mucinoid plaque just line it was like the lining of my digestive tract of just all mucus and plaque. And everybody like, that's a tapeworm, that's a tapeworm. But as the years I started really learning physiology and anatomy and what goes on in the body, I'm like, no, that was the mucinoid plaque keeping me from absorbing all of my nutrients, man.
So it basically, you eating and consuming all the juices pretty much broke it loose and you pass it all through.
And I call that hydration breaks up stagnation or calcification. It was stagnated byproducts from food, stagnated foods that couldn't leave out of my colon and out of my intestines. And once I started hydrating, it broke all that plaque off of my digestional tract and digestional wall. And when I pooped it out, man, and it was the most hideous thing. And it was black like tar, showing you how corrosive it was and how many years it been up in my system. And then started making me study preventive maintenance and how long it takes for you to get disease. It takes at least 10 years for cancer to form in the body. At least 10 years.
That's why a lot of people get it at such an older age, but your body's been developing it over time because you've been consuming all this bad food.
Exactly. A heart attack. If you're not doing drugs like snorting cocaine, heroin, and things like that, anything that speeds up the cardiovascular system and slows it down real fast, that'll give you cardiac arrest quick. But like just eating poor foods and eating a high sugar diet, you can start, it's something called the glycocalyx. The glycocalyx is this protective layer of sugar and protein that lines every inch of your arteries. If this start breaking down before you come out of your mother's womb, so while you in your mother's womb, depending on what she eating, this will be a mortality predictable chart on when you will have a fatal heart attack when you get older in your 30s. Everybody think it start when the baby first start eating. No, it starts in the womb when the mama is eating her food while you in the womb inside that placenta. That's how deep it goes. So we act like we just wake up and, oh, my body's attacking itself. No, you've been attacking your body. Your mama been attacking your body. And then if the father's semen is weak, and if the father is smoking and drinking and doing all of these things, and then he ejaculating in his woman, and he already putting a sick seed inside of her, then there's gonna be complications there too. So and that's why it's good to before you lay down with your significant other and y'all do procreate, y'all go on a detox and y'all cleanse yourselves, because genetic disposition it exists. You know what I'm saying? Epigenetics is a real thing. So yeah, man.
Wow, that's crazy. Now let's get into some of the these everyday things that we're going through and we seeing in the media and seeing online. I guess we can kind of start with prostate. Mm-hmm.
So
like making sure you take care of your prostate. We're going to go through the prostate, the colon, the pancreas, being diabetic, blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer, and all these different things that everybody's seeing. And they go to the doctor and they put you on these meds. And you're not being smart enough to know that these meds are not going to cure me. You're just trying to make me feel good for a few minutes and keep me coming back.
Right. So as far as the prostate heavily deals with seminal fluid, or what you call semen fluid. And the prostate loves zinc, it loves copper, and it loves selenium. So as long as you are keeping a diet full of those phytonutrients, should I say, you can usually keep the prostate healthy. But what the prostate hates, though, the prostate hates red meat, the prostate hates mucus-forming foods, starchy-forming food, and the prostate hates any food that becomes what you will call acidic forming as you eating it. So if you eating this food and it leaves back a lot of phosphorus and it leaves back not enough calcium and magnesium, that's what you will call acidic forming food. But if it leaves back calcium and magnesium and manganese, then that's what we'll call alkaline forming food. So anything that's not fruits, vegetables, herbs, seeds, nuts, in certain grains, then the prostate not gonna like it anyway. And then it becomes very inflammatory to the prostate, and it raises something called the PSA levels, which stands for specific prostate-specific antigen numbers. And based off of that, they can tell you whether your prostate's swollen or you heading toward prostate cancer. Now, I do want to add in this, though, you will not get no cancer diagnoses without parasites. So anytime, 99% of the time, if you see a cancer diagnosis, that means that you either went through three things. I'm going to say it's all three things together, but the allopathic community say each one can trigger it. It's either going to be in energy deficiency, meaning that you lack in energy because the mitochondria is not producing enough what they call ATP to keep the cells functioning and to keep them firing off correctly. Or you go through something called mitochondria failure, which means you're not getting a lot of sunlight, and because the mitochondria's sole purpose is to act and function from sunlight. So, and black people ain't been in the sun enough, right? And then the third thing is what you will call oxygen deprived cells, when the cells loses oxygen. These are three things that causes cancer. And then the fourth thing that's been the big elephant in the room, that the CIA just released the document showing this. You know what I'm saying? It's unclassified, that 99% of cancer patients and victims all had parasites that was associated with it. And they've been hiding that since 1940. And they just released the files 2 years ago, unclassified the files, showing it on the papers. I put the paper on my social media, and they're showing that most of these cancer diagnoses, or what you would call misdiagnoses, and actually are parasitic infections. In fact, there is not one so-called disease that's associated with the human body that's not associated with a parasite. So I tell people, if your prostate is swollen, it's inflammation, I'm pretty sure that you lacking some type of mineral, right? You have some type of energy deficiency in that area. You need to make sure that you higher your intake of zinc, copper, and selenium. You can get that from your Brazilian nuts. Also, another thing is 100% chocolate, the real chocolate, the cacao, not that other stuff that they making up in these laboratories.
Not them Snickers.
Yeah, not them Snickers,
not them
Twix.
Hershey's.
Yeah, none of that. Like real cacao. That'll really help out the prostate. And then a lot of men find it very sensitive, or they be in these homophobic boxes where they don't want to do like pelvic exercise strengthening, because how you have to bend your body and the things that you have to do. But pelvic floor exercising and literally moving your body and doing hip thrusters and things like that will help you strengthen that lower area to calm all of the inflammation down. Not only that, it'll bring a lot of blood flow to your lower extremities, and the blood is what feeds the cells of the body. So the blood is what feeds the cells of the body, all the phytonutrients, all the oxygens, all the amino acids, proteins, minerals, whatever that the body need. Whatever the cells need, the blood flow feeds it to it. It's like a delivery system. It's like the mailman. Then you have what you will call the nervous system, which is the command center. That's what communicates and tells the cells of the body what to do. Then last but not least, you have the most important vital system to me for cleansing is the lymphatic system. If the lymphatic system is not moving, and the lymphatic system is the sewage system of the body. It goes through and it collects and it picks up all the trash, all the metabolic waste, and it takes it through these highways called lymph vessels. Then they end up in something called lymph nodes. The lymph nodes then further break this trash down, and then you wake up in the rising and you urinate it out. So if the lymphatic system is stagnated, then there is no cleansing because you're too congested. And all diseases, I don't care what and I hate the word disease because I don't really believe in that ideology, and we could talk about that later, but for the sake of the people that never heard of me, all diseases is an energy deficiency, some type of deficiency and toxicity. That's all it is. You are toxic and you're deficient. Do these two things together create something called adaptation, because the body have to adapt to survive. Then that adaptation equals a mutation, and all mutation of the cells is they call cancer.
I tell people that I'm kind of close to, that I can really talk to, that can relate to it. I tell people sometimes that it's so crazy that everybody thinks cancer is a disease.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, it's a healing mechanism. If you look at cancer, if you look at any of these diseases, there's a powerful thing, the power to define, like defining something. Being the first person to define something is who gets there first and who get the point across usually is the ones who narrative live forever. We have a people in a culture that beat us to the power of defining ourselves, who we are as a people. We're defined as black.
And
black,
we believe it.
Right. Black is the color of a crown. We defined as African Americans. That's two continents. You cannot be two continents, right? We say we African American, we say we black, which is the color of these chairs. So we don't know who we are. We don't have our identity because somebody else defined our identity for us. Not only did they define our identity, they also had the power to define how we look at education and how we look at ourselves and how we look at disease. So they define disease as being out of homeostasis, being diagnosed with something that have to be cured for you to get to homeostasis. We, as a holistic Aboriginal people of America, we define disease as the body is at dis-ease, meaning energy cannot easily flow throughout the meridian pathways, throughout the blood and the circulatory system to keep you at balance and to keep you at peace. So based off of the definition, you already get this neurocognition that's going to change your biology, because beliefs change your biology. So if you believe you got cancer, according to their doctrine and according to the way they defined it, now you got to fight because you at war with yourself. So you got to get weapons of war. One of the biggest chemical weapons of warfare is chemotherapy. Now you got to burn it out. You got to do radiation. Then they even go as far as they use utensils to literally hack off body parts. You got to cut your breast out. You got to cut this out, cut that out.
Foot off.
Yeah. So like with diabetics, now you got to cut your foot off instead of just
cut your finger off.
Instead of just bringing blood back to those areas. So based off of those who define these terms and those who teach the definition of the power of to define these terms, you get these ideologies and these indoctrination principles inside of you, and based off of their belief, you either will heal from this so-called disease or it'll literally kill you. And that's why I tell all of my clients to come into my clinic. Before you come, is you coming to me with cancer? Yes, don't come to me with cancer. Go to the doctor. They believe in cancer. They do cancer and put cancer in remission. But let's talk about what led up to the cancer. Let's talk about the cells lacking oxygen. Let's talk about this parasitic that's attached to it, and they're going through their larva migration process. Let's talk about all these minerals that you deficient in, and let's attack that issue. I don't even want to say attack because it sounds like I'm fighting something. Let's address that issue.
Deal with it.
Right. And then guess what happens in 3 months? The so-called cancer goes away.
Goes away.
So is it really cancer?
And like I said, cancer is really just bad cells.
Yeah, well,
it's just cells, you know, and if you're not eating right and doing what you're supposed to do, when those cells or either die off or reproduce, you're putting yourself in a bad situation.
And the beautiful thing about cancer is, about what they call cancer, is the body trying to heal itself. When you look at cancer forms tumors. But if you look at a tumor, what you'll call tumor genesis, is basically the body creating these fleshly trash bags to put all the toxins in. We just need somebody to take the trash out, which is supposed to be the lymphatic system. So cancer is the body way of detoxing and localizing toxicity. That's literally all it is. Now, the bad thing about it is, since these fleshly trash bags of tumors are there and it's full of acidic waste, this become a breeding and a nesting ground for parasites. So now parasites get in there, they spill out all of their feces, and then they love to calcify things. So now these tumors get hard as a rock, and it's kind of hard to break them down. So instead of figuring out a way to break up the stagnation and crystallizations, or what you would call calcification, what they do is they want to hack it off, or they want to radiate the out of you or give you all of this chemotherapy,
Kill everything,
which come from Zyklon B chemical warfare that was actually used in Germany, and they was put on trial for doing this stuff at the Nuremberg trial. Like, people don't really do the history of chemotherapy and how it even got to America. It's actually a biological chemical weapon of warfare. They seen what it did to people's immune system and seen how it killed cells, and then the Rockefeller Foundation and the Carnegies and Henry Kissinger, which his stuff is unclassified now too. You can read the Henry Kissinger files, which will blow your mind how evil-minded these people is. They said, well, we can use this for chemotherapy treatment back at home. So they bought and patented the Zyklon B bioweapon, and then they brought it to America, and now they putting it in people's veins and putting it in people's skin and tissues that have cancer. So like and that's why the side effects from it is death. And it's a cancer-causing agent. So chemotherapy actually causes cancer. So I get diagnosed with cancer. Then you want to put me on a treatment for chemotherapy, which causes cancer. I get diagnosed with cancer. You want to radiate the hell out of me. Some of our clients have been radiated so bad that their nerves have been damaged. They can't move some parts of their body. And then they come back with cancer in those areas. So everything that you giving me to treat my cancer in the long run, and what I mean by long run, I mean the next 4 to 5 years is going to give me cancer anyway. So if we have critical thinking, independent minds.
Then they tell you you're in remission.
Yeah, and notice they can't say cure because they can't lie on their papers. That's why you have to sign off on the chemotherapy before you take it. And by the way, chemotherapy shots are like $17,000. The ports is like $15,000, and they keep the port in you to keep that money reoccurring. It's a cancer industry. It's a business.
I got a friend right now going through it. He did his 4th treatment yesterday. He has to do 6.
See what I'm saying? And then the more and more you get that, and the more and more you get that, like people that come to me that went through all of that, and they finally see, and they eye finally open, and they realize, like, man, this chemotherapy killing me. It's in the tissues. Chemotherapy is a forever chemical. The only way you can get it out of the tissues if you got to pull it back out. So the same way it went in through the blood, I got to put it back in the blood to bring it back out. The same way it going in, it's going to burn coming out. And that's why we just tell people, I can't tell you not to go to the allopathic community. That's against the law. I can't tell you not to take the medicine. That's against the law. But what I can tell you is to be a critical, independent thinker. That's it.
Talk a little bit about this. Everybody's talking about this parasite that gets into the pancreas, and it's really the cause of a lot of these different situations.
Yeah, especially diabetes.
Diabetes. It's like this parasite that gets in, and people are taking all this medicine trying to figure it out, and they don't understand. If you just kill this parasite in your pancreas, it will get rid of all of that. It's not the sugar. It's not really what you're eating. It's what you're feeding that parasite that's in your pancreas. Yeah,
and it's the number one cause to diabetes. Yeah. So it's called Pancreaticum uretrema flukeworm. Pancreaticum uretrema flukeworm.
I heard the flukeworm.
Yeah, and so it's a Pancreaticum uretrema. Man, this thing is a beast, and it actually comes from snails. Snails get in the water. They have this larva in them. You can get it by way of contamination, drinking water. It can get on your dogs and your cats by them going to poop, and then the snail. It got many different ways that it can get to you, but it's in about 4 out of 10 people. Every 10 people, 4 of them got this Pancreaticum uretrema flukeworm. And what it does is it lodges itself inside the pancreas, and it literally chew on pancreatic tissues. It'll chew on the pancreas, and it damaged something called the islets of Langerhans. Inside the islets of Langerhans in the pancreas, this is where your alpha cells, your beta cells, and your delta cells are produced at. The alpha cells produces a hormone that raises the blood sugar. It lets your body know that the blood sugar is high. The beta cells produces something called insulin, which act as a key mechanism to open the cells to allow glucose or sugar inside the cells, so you can burn it as energy, but we can do things like we're doing right now, which is to talk to each other. Then you have something called the delta cells. The delta cells create something called somatostatin, which is a human growth hormone. So what happens is this Pancreaticum uretrema flukeworm will migrate, come from the liver first, then it go through larval migration, and then it works its way up through the bowels, and it ends itself up into the duct of the pancreas. It gets down into the islands of Langerhans, and it literally ciphers off all of your iron. It loves iron. It hates calcium though, but it loves iron. It loves manganese. It loves manganese. It loves all of the alkaline minerals. And then what it does is it starts chewing on the tissues, creating this inflammatory response. So the pancreas become inflamed. But when the pancreas become inflamed and the islands of Langerhans is not working correctly, now when you eat food, your blood sugar go up. But since your pancreas, the beta cells are now inflamed and damaged, you can't allow sugar to go inside the cells so the sugar stay in the blood. This creates something called insulin resistance, and insulin resistance is the number one driver to, all of the so-called diseases that we are really battling with here. So it's good to deworm yourself. Like I said, you can't name one disease that a worm is not attached to, and then now it's just finally coming out. And then depending on where this parasite migrate to, it causes a different issue. Like if it migrates to the skin, if it migrates to the nerve, they usually call it multiple sclerosis or MS. If it migrates to the synapses of the nerve, like the 33, the ganglion nerve or the sacral nerve, they call it herpes. If it goes into the thymus gland and it kills all of your CD4 cells, they usually call it HIV. If it gets to the skin, they call it all types of skin disorders, psoriasis. Like wherever it's in the body, it causes different symptomologies, and it's pleomorphic. And what I mean by pleomorphic is these things can literally change in shape and form and size depending on the terrain and the acidity or the alkalinity of that particular area of the body. So inside of our clinic, or in our detoxification facility, should I say, we have $100,000 microscopes. We got a $150,000 microscope. We got a bunch of microscopes. So when people come to see us, I take a drop of your blood, 2 million cells, I put it on a microscope, and I show you yourself all of the intracellular parasites with your own eyes, and it blows people's minds. They have 6, 7 heads. Some of them be flatworms, some of them be baby fluke worms, schistostoma, which is blood flukes that you can see under a microscope. And all of these have different things in the body, and all you do is constantly see them nicking and eating the cells, and they be throwing up. If you magnify it 100,000 times under a microscope, you can see when they reach the membrane of the cells, they throw up this fluid. And then if you watch long enough, whatever they threw up will break down the membrane of the cell, and then they'll wiggle their little asses in the cell, showing you that they throwing up some type of acid or lysosome to break down the cells, to get in the cells. And usually when they get down inside the cells, they eat all of the nutrition, the hemoglobin, the oxygen, and everything out of it. And then they lay their eggs. They're using us as placentas. They literally, and they use us as carriers as well. Like they'll use, if it's a person that's always having sex with multiple different people, you have a parasite called Trick. Trick would choose you over somebody that's celibate or just sleeping with one person, because its life expectancy is all based off of how can it transmit itself through sex to keep its so these, and they help think for you. It's so many different articles showing how they can release their own estrogen like hormones, their own testosterone like hormones. They release their own hormones that binds with your neuroreceptors and make you hungry for things that you wouldn't ordinarily eat. So you'll have a big sugar craving and you wondering why you can't diet the correct way, or the moment you get on a diet, you only a day in, you got the biggest headache in the world, and you keep breaking your fast, or you keep breaking all of these discipline promises to yourself, and you don't even know that you hijacked by parasites. When we talk about
feeding the parasites,
Fasciolopsis boyski is a parasite that's very, very closely associated with herpes, and they are so smart, and it's like they hijack the nerves. Why are you hijacking my nervous system? And then the parts of the nervous system you hijacking is the ones that's connected to my trigeminal nerve, all the nerves where my senses come in at. Then if you go to HSV2, you attacking the nerves that's closely associated with my sexual organs and hormones. Like, or you attacking these for when I eat, you taste the food. When I see, you see what I see. You know, when I have sex, you having sex with me. So if you start looking at these things more as spiritual entities than physical parasites, I think we can understand them better. And that's the reason why everywhere in the world, it's mandatory that you do a parasite cleanse every 90 days, but they don't do it in the European countries and they don't do it in America. And my question is why, if they do it everywhere else?
They don't tell you because they want you to stay sick.
Come on now, because it's a big business.
It's a big business.
Yes, it is.
It's a huge business. Like you said, people craving that chocolate at night and craving different things that they eat, not realizing, eat a piece of fruit. You know what I'm saying? I started doing? I started eating healthy gummies.
Okay.
Rather than eating some of the stuff I would crave at night. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't understand, like you said, and then there's also a real chocolate that you really should be eating daily that's healthy rather than eating
Cacao.
a candy bar or eating this different
Which is
stuff.
very powerful for you, and it's very, very powerful for the prostate. It really is. And another thing that's powerful for the prostate is saw palmetto berries. Saw palmetto berries is very good for the prostate. It's like God created it just for the prostate. But any berries, whether we talking about mulberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, any of these berries, saw palmetto berries, Cassandra berries, all of these are good for the prostate. So if you got a swollen prostate, pelvic floor exercises, make sure that you're relieving yourself. Have a significant other. If you don't, then make sure you're relieving, because you don't want all that seminal fluid getting built up in there anyway. And go on a berry diet. Do some, always incorporate berries in your diet, man, and Brazilian nuts, and your prostate will be all right.
Did we speak on the colon?
No, we didn't speak on the colon.
Colon, that's a big thing right now too, that people don't understand the reasons why they're having these difficulties.
Yeah, so the colon, you have more neurons, or what you will call more neurological material in your actual digestive system, or what we call the gut, than you actually have in your brain. So to me, the first brain will be the gut. The second brain will be the central nervous system. And then last but not least, you have a third brain, which have neural activity in it as well, which is the heart. A lot of people don't talk about that, and all of them are connected by way of a 10th cranial nerve that start from here and cross over, called the vagus nerve. So the gut literally is the brain, and based off of the microbiome, or what we call bacteria that lines up the gut, it tells you how to think. So if you just look at it like this, when you are hungry and you eat these foods, the foods that go inside the gut, they break down, and then when they break down, they go through this 9-inch intestinal tract called the duodenum. There you got trillions of bacteria that help ferment and break these foods down, and then it go through capillaries, and once it go through capillaries, everything you ate just went inside of your body, and it binds with your DNA. So potentially what you eat, you become. So you see a lot of people eating angry chicken, angry birds, and be angry. That's why you see people killing each other at KFC or Church's Chicken for the sales that they have. You see just a bunch of crazy stuff going around the meat. And then these meats, they have all these sexual hormones and sexual chemistry in them, because they want to produce them fast and make them get real big and put them on the supply chain for you can eat them. So you eating all of these estrogen-like hormones, you eating all of this sexual hormones, and then you wondering why you feeling so sexual. You ready to hump everything moving, and you not even considering it's the sexual hormones from the meats. Not only that, the antibiotics that they are shooting in these meats when you eat them. And now these antibiotics are made from mold fillings. So you eating mold and don't even know it. So all of this is going into the gut, it's going inside the bloodstream, and then it's going into your cells, and it's corroding your cells. The cells get corroded. Calcium and mucus got to come there to neutralize the area. That's what mucus do. Mucus is a neutralizer. It's very, very alkaline. Calcium is the most alkaline mineral inside the body, so it's used as a buffering system. But the thing is, when acid, mucus, and calcium mix together, it's a instant crystallization. So now you got all of this calcification in the gut. So since the lining of the gut is now calcified, anything you eat, you're not going to absorb the nutrients from it anyway, because it can't make it through the capillaries, because this duodenum tract, which is right here, is all solidified. So anything you eat, just pass it through. It go through the mouth and it come out the anus, but you never got the absorption factor. So the first thing is ingestion. How do I look at my food? What entices me to eat the things I eat? Then I eat that food. That's called digestion. That's me chewing the food. It goes down my esophagus, it hit my stomach, hydrochloric acid, then break it down, then it goes to the duodenum. Inside the duodenum, you have something called absorption. You're supposed to absorb all these nutrients, all of these phytochemicals, for your body can be able to use them. The next one is the adrenal glands, and the hypothalamus gland and the thyroid go through something called utilization. Since I absorbed all these nutrients, now my cells can utilize them. Well, once the cells utilize them, they eat them, they leave back a byproduct, kind of like you put fuel inside of your car, and then you start the car up, and what come out the tailpipe?
Smoke.
Carbon dioxide, because it burnt the fuel. Well, the thing is, we have a tailpipe that's called our rectum and anus, but you so clogged and backed up, we not getting these things out. So all of the poison and toxicity stays inside of the body, and then it starts robbing the cells of oxygen. The last one is elimination. So if you can't eliminate, you accumulate. If you accumulate, you become congested. Congested literally equals toxicity. Toxicity drives deficiency. Deficiency then causes adaptation. Adaptation pushes mutation, which leads to all these other diseases. And it's always associated with a parasite, because parasites are they're opportunists.
So if you put bad gas in your car, your car gonna be smoking.
Yeah, think about it. If you got a diesel truck right now, you can't put unleaded gas in a diesel truck. It won't even start up. If you come through with a Ferrari or with a Lamborghini.
But you can't put grease out the grease trap in a diesel truck and it'll run.
Yeah.
So if you put grease, you putting all this stuff in your system, you may think you're still running, but you're really not running.
You're not running at your optimal level. Exactly.
You're not running at your optimal level, and if you're eating a lot of wrong stuff and you're not going to the bathroom, all this stuff is building up in you, like you were saying. It builds up into your intestines and into your walls, and it stays there. And the parasites and it just everything just multiplies.
And that's the reason why pancreatic cancer is the #1 killer.
Yep.
Because when that pancreas start going down, you stop producing the enzymes to break down your food for you can absorb. So any issue with disease is always an absorption factor. And that's what happens with the gut. That's why the gut is so important. That's why you have to cleanse it, because if we're trying to cleanse out the cells and rebuild the cells, we need all of the material, like the drywall, the nails, the sheetrock. That's the same thing when I'm talking about minerals, calcium. You need all of that to rebuild the cellular structure, because the cellular structure is the powerhouse of the body anyway. You can't build that if you're not getting nothing in. If they got the driveway blocked, then how I'm going to deliver the material? And our driveway is our duodenum, and we keep it blocked when we eat the wrong foods. And it's easy to find out what food you eat. And all you got to do is go look into nature. What do you closely assimilate with? Look at your anatomy and physiology, and then boom, the diet is right there. But again, it's the power to define. We got another people telling us what food is, another people telling us who we are, another people telling us our history. So when you got another people telling you who you are, what you are, when you are, why you are, and how you are, and you don't know who you are, then you will believe in anything.
And you know what's one of the biggest tricks that I think it is in the whole system? They tricked us into believing food is entertainment.
I agree with that, brother. I can agree with that. Yeah.
I want to go to this restaurant. I want to go to that restaurant because they got. And a lot of people don't understand. Like when you really study and you really break this thing down, a lot of restaurants that make food taste good because they may have a good chef that know how to season and put this on it and put that on it. It can be the vegetables. It could be the lettuce. It could be the meat. They're serving you bad food.
And then the thing is, too,
and charging you a lot of money for it.
And then
because of the taste or because of the way the decoration look at the restaurant. So it's like, to me, it's so crazy that like a lot of people just are so excited about going to certain places and spending money, not realizing that if you really want to be healthy and take care of your cells and take care of your system, everything is going to be good for you, not going to taste good.
Yeah, facts. But that's the ingestion part I was talking about. In my book, Killing the Illusion We Call Disease, when I start talking about the whole entire body, the first thing I touch on is ingestion, what happens before the bite, how companies are using our neurological system and our neurological cognition and to promote. They use colors, they use shapes, they use smells, they use the positionings in the neighborhood where they put the restaurants at. They use everything to attack us by way of our glandular highway, or in spirituality, they call it the chakras. So like if you look at anybody that's like all of your #1 selling foods, like McDonald's, they use the red fry box with, and the red represents the sacral chakra. And what that is, that's the sexual appealing side of you. So a lot of us are sexually attracted to the food, but we not making the actual connection because you can't have sex with your food, but it's still sexual stimuli. If you look at blue they usually do for, vacation. It gives you this calmness because it reminds you of blue water, reminds you of the ocean. If they want
skies.
Blue skies. If they want to promote something to have you remember, they use yellow. That's the reason why when you go to school, school, you go on a yellow school bus. If you want to retain something in the book, you use a yellow highlighter. When they want to make you feel invigorated or make you feel powerful, they always use purple. Purple to the brain represents royalty. You see what I'm saying? So they have figured out a way to intercept between the moment that you say you hungry and the moment you want to put the food in your mouth. They got a scientific formula where they can go right between there and they can tell you what to eat without telling you. It's all subliminal messages. As a matter of fact, it's a movie that Will Smith played in with a Caucasian woman. And what they was doing was they just stole everything. And in the movie, they knew a man that had a lot of money that was going to a football game or a race game. Yeah, football game. And on his way, when he got to L.A., he seen 55. When he was driving in a car, he seen 55. In fact, the cab he had was number 55. And they put it there strategically. Every sign he went by had 55 on it. Yeah, he went on the floor. The floor mats had 55. They was playing a song in the background at the stadium that said 55 in a Mandarin language. So then they get there and they start betting. They bet he lose all his money. The last bet he was set up, he said, pick anybody in the crowd, any number on one of these jerseys. If I can figure out the number, then you owe me $1 million. He said, man, this is like getting struck by lightning 10 times in a row. It's impossible. You sure you want to do this deal? He didn't know that the ingestion process, he already been primed to choose 55 before he even put the binoculars on to look in the crowd. He put the binoculars on, he looked in the crowd, he was finna pick another number, and then he seen 55, and subconsciously he said, oh, I got my number. He wrote down 55, he gave it to somebody in the back, he showed it to Will, and he's like, man, this is insane. How did you do that? And he didn't know he was getting primed to choose 55 to get all his money robbed from him before he even got to the football stadium. That's the same thing that's happening to us with food. The same thing that happened to us with our clothing, with our culture. We are being primed and we are being targeted for marketing because we spend the most amount of dollars every year and we don't even know it. All of this marketing is not for Europeans. It's not for nobody. It's for us because we the one with the money and we think we broke.
Yep. And I talk about this all the time. Like, it's like you said, it's being programmed so crazy, and subconsciously we don't even understand what the whole thing is about.
Come on, look, brother. Before I detox, my favorite color was red. You know what I'm saying? I got it tatted on me, red rags, everything. So my favorite color was red. After I detoxed and I started peeling back my ego, I realized, like, why did I even like red? Because my whole hood like red. They all bang red. That's why I like red. I realized that my favorite color was blue. Like, blue does something to me, especially royal blue. I look good in blue. But my whole life, I grew up with red flags and everybody around me wearing red and banging red. So that was my color. And I didn't realize that I based my favorite color off of everybody else's favorite color, and everybody else's favorite color based themselves off of everyday elders, and they don't even know that this is a whole CIA operation going on where we are just in projects, and they call it a project for a reason.
It's a project.
It's a project. In projects for a reason, and they are making us think that we thinking for ourselves and we not. And the moment I became a critical individual thinker, I noticed the difference between individuality and the beehive mind. Everybody that was a part of the beehive mind went against me for trying to teach them how to be independent thinkers.
And they get mad at you.
Yeah, man, like
they get mad at you. Oh, you trying to tell me how to run my life? You trying to tell me? You trying to control what? No. I'm telling you not to be controlled.
Come on, man.
I'm trying to explain. I just went through this with somebody.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach you that it's about you. People don't realize that everybody is different.
Come on now.
Everybody's different, and everybody has their own thing. I just interviewed 2 Chainz yesterday, and we were talking about the book, The Voice in My Head is God. And what people, if you watching this interview, it's like you heard the voice from the different things you experienced before you were 21 years old.
Right.
But rather than you getting deeper into the hole, going deeper into that sunken place, you understood that there were 2 sides.
Yeah.
I can go left or I can go right.
Yeah.
You chose to go right, not using everything that you went through as a curse or as a crutch understanding that God was giving you these signals and giving you these signs on the moves that you need to make. They're not going to be easy to do because, like you said, I was on drugs. I was a little big. I had all these different things going on. I broke all these boundaries, and I went to school. I educated myself, and everything that you went through was the things you were going through to get. Like, I have a picture that I took one time. I was coming from Florida on my motorcycle, and it was raining. And me and my homeboy, it was storming. He wanted to stop. I was like, no, keep going. We kept going. When we got through the rain, we pulled over to take our rain suits off. I could see in my rearview mirror, you could see the clouds. Yeah. So it's like, but if we'd have stayed stuck.
It's smart, brother. I like
you got to keep going through it.
That's a good analogy right there.
Yeah, so you went through it, and it's just so amazing for the people that understand, and it's just so misfortunate that a lot of people don't see it. And they be mad.
I had to come to terms with that, though. We can't save everybody. Matter of fact, you can't save nobody. Only person you can save is yourself, and you let that light radiate, and whoever is meant for is meant for. We pull out 2,000 people, 2,500 people. We pull big crowds when we do. You know, I never did any event that wasn't sold out, and a lot of them come just because it's the stigma of who I am, to see what I'm about. It's rarely over 50 people that really come to retain the information. So now, whether I'm talking to 50,000 people, 2 people, or 1 people, I'm only speaking to those people that's really it's gonna resonate with and it's gonna change their life. So in the scripture, it tells us a water drop to a wave will be saved. A water drop to a wave will really get this information, apply the knowledge, and transform their life. And if we go in thinking that, then now you got the mindset as I'm here to save myself and be the example, but I can't make you do anything. This is what I did. It worked for me. If you do it, it might work for you. You either gonna do it or not. And I think it's because I'm on Cancer, so I'm an empath, man. I used to feel people so much, and it took so much practicing on me not taking that shit home with me. Because I used to leave my health clinic and go home with all of these people diseases on me and feeling the weight of it on me. And then you talk to them a month later, and they never changed their diet. You like, hold on, I done prayed and cried for you and felt bad for you, and you did what?
They don't care.
You still eating chicken?
they haven't tapped in. It's almost like we don't understand that we are our own competition.
Yep.
It's like you're not competing with, when you watch a football game, when you watch an NBA game, these guys are not out here competing against each other. They're really competing for a trophy. But the preparation for them to get on the field is them competing with themselves.
Come on.
So it's like when you see 2 teams in the Super Bowl and some good friends are playing on each team, opposite each on the other side of the field, like, but they homeboys because they understand it's like we're not really competing against each other. Yeah. We're competing against our ability to be able to play this game.
Yeah. But it's just the cultural identity crisis I was talking about yesterday with Banks, man. We have a cultural identity crisis when you don't know who you are, you don't know where you really come from. You just accept any name that somebody give you. You accept the person's education and indoctrination, and all you know is a system that been feeding you, giving you clothing, shelter, food, everything. They can tell you who you are, and once you believe that, everything else that claims your sovereignty or independency, you just throw out the door. I was listening to a lecture about Malcolm X. It's like one of his lost tapes, and I'm gonna just rephrase what he said. He said, "Do you know how hard it is for a field nigga to free himself and have enough compassion to break in the big house and go get the house?" He said the house will ring every alarm, will wake up master and try to get the field nigga that freed himself, that's trying to free the house. The house will literally call the master to come kill the field because he don't want to leave the house, because he don't even know what freedom look like. He don't know what it feel like because he's simply comfortable being in a house, and the only thing he know is dreadful is being in the field. So it's that same complex. I'm feel waking up like, hold on, man, all this is fake. Let me break into master house and go get my brother in there. And then my brother, which is most of the people, they like, man, I'm good where I'm at. I like ironing master clothes. I like washing his clothes. I eat every day.
I eat good.
You know what I'm saying? I'm cool.
I'm chilling.
I get to drink with them.
I'm in the big house.
And I'm like, look, let's go build our own. And then they're like, well, where we gonna go? Now is the question. We ain't got no home to go to. Let's go build our. Now it's that work. And what I've realized is, our people are so comfortable with what we have because we don't really want to work hard to get to where we need to be, especially together.
But you know what it is, though? It's the ego.
Yeah.
It's the ego. Like, we won't let that ego go. But for anybody watching this, listen, if you want to get treatment, start taking care of yourself before you need to take care of yourself. So if you want to focus on your prostate, on your colon, on your pancreas, on your diabetes, on your blood pressure, on your cholesterol, on any of these things, tap in. Let everybody know how they can tap into the organization, for cleansing. Let them know how to deal with stress and just how to deal with just taking care of themselves.
All right, real quick, because we did talk about the colon. You want to cleanse your colon, what you can do is you can do Cascara Sagrada. Cascara Sagrada, you can take that as a tea. That's very good to cleanse the colon. Another one would be prickly ash bark. You can take that as a tea. That'll cleanse the colon out as well. You would do 8 ounces of each a day. So you would do the Cascara, you do that in the rising, do the prickly ash before you go to sleep. For the parasites, because all of these are parasite driven, what you want to do is green walnut hull tincture. If you can get it in a glycerin form, do that. Green walnut hull tincture. And then also wormwood. You can do a wormwood tea or wormwood capsules, 500 milligrams. Do them 3 times a day. As far as the pancreas, any of y'all got pancreas issues, make sure that you're taking plant-based digestive enzymes. That'll help you actually break down your food before that pancreas can actually rest and you can heal it and get rid of all of that inflammation. You can find me at www.yahkiawaken.com, YAHKIAWAKENED. You can find me on all social media platforms. Just make sure that it's a blue check. There's a lot of people out here pretending to be me. It's a lot of imposters. If it ain't more than 1 million followers, it ain't me anyway.
I seen you in AI.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. AI is there. They have found, and I think it's a government op where they just trying to discredit me because it's too many other pages with fake AI where they taking my likeness and taking my voice to sell different products. And then when you read these products, I don't sell no products outside my website, but when you read the reviews, people are never getting their products. But then the people can find me, the real me, to do disputes. Well, they can't do disputes because they didn't have it, but to go on BBB and discredit me. And you look at my BBB numbers and all, I think it's an operation to try to discredit me right now. I do not sell any herbs outside of www.yahkiawaken.com. I don't inbox people.
All the Facebook ads popping up.
That's not me.
All that trolling.
That's not me.
That's not him.
And if they responding to you, that's not me. I don't respond to anybody because there's too many people trying to get in contact with me. And if it's not a blue page, automatically think that it's not me. If it's not holding up a product from my actual blue page that go to my website, I promise you it's not my product. We suing so many companies right now, but then when we get down to the bottom of it, the companies really don't exist, and that's the reason why we think it's the government. You can't even find them. And that's the reason why we think it's the government. But hey, who knows? But it's not me, y'all. But you can find me on all of those platforms. Also, download my app. My app is called Yahki Radio. You can get it on Apple and you can get it on Android. It's a network. We just had to call it a radio to get our foot in the door, but everything is under there. And then last but not least, man, Healing the Illusion We Call Disease, the Bible of Health. It's one of the greatest books in history. Is my book. It's an 820 pager. Everything you need to know about health, healing, disease, pathologies, whatever you need to know is in that book. It's $150. The reason why is because it's an actual curriculum. So I think you really need to invest in it. It just started print this week. So we have a lot of them out starting next week.
Catch me in the streets. I'm gonna be trapping the product. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be trapping out the back, out the trunk. So holla at your boy. Straight, all my products coming straight off the website, my boy.
Yeah.
You dig? Yeah. Thank you for coming up, man. I really appreciate it. I follow the movement. When April called me, I was like, of course, I'll be watching all this stuff. And I
appreciate it, brother.
Just your whole, I heard your story before. I just wanted you to tell it. I'm proud.
Thank you, brother.
To finally meet you, and I'm proud of your journey and everything you've accomplished. And we down with you. We gonna see that thing through, my boy.
Let's do it, brother.
Dr. Yahki in the building.
Peace, shalom laka.
Let them know how they can follow you again.
You can follow me on IG at Yahki Awaken, blue check verified. You can follow me on Facebook at Yahki Rapha Elohim, blue check verified. You can follow me on YouTube at Yahki Awaken, blue check verified. Anything else, automatically assume it's not me.
The website, get to the website. If you can afford them Jordans, if you afford them handbags, them jeans and all that, you can afford to get some products that's really gonna help you in the future.
Give me 21 days. I promise you, if you listen to me for 21 days, I'll change your life.
21.